All right, guys, it is time for just one more thing, and that means it's time for the Columbo Files. Today on the Columbo Files, Columbo Cries Wolf. This is an 80s episode of Columbo, or a 90s rather, episode of Columbo. So this is after, like, Columbo had been on for a while in the 70s and then gone away, and then they decided to bring him back for more TV movies in the 90s. This is one of those. This is toward the end of all Columbos. And I'll tell you right now, the 90s Columbos are not as good as the 70s Columbos. I think for a lot of reasons. There's a certain degree to where Columbo as a character just fits better in the 70s, and there's also a degree to where the 90s movies, being a half hour longer, tend to involve more padding and all of that. But Columbo Cries Wolf, this one features a murder, or at least a missing person, at what is essentially the Playboy Mansion. Now, the problem with this one for me is, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spoil the heck out of this thing. So if for whatever reason you, like me, have been spending a lot of your time watching old Columbos, you might want to skip ahead. But here's the deal. So typically in the first 20, 30 minutes of a Columbo, somebody gets murdered and you watch it happen, and then the joy of the show is watching Columbo solve it. These, as I have said before, are not whodunits, these are how-catchems. How is Columbo going to catch the guy? Well, early into the show, it's ambiguous whether somebody has been murdered or not. And at the end of the movie, it turns out that nobody had been murdered, that this was an elaborate missing person kind of an affair, a staged death in order to pull some shenanigans with selling the magazine and all that. So that's part of the problem. Is part of that joy of watching Columbo solve it is also in watching him be one step ahead. Is that the criminal thinks they've got it figured out and that they've got Columbo fooled, but then knowing that Columbo knows that this guy, he knows what the deal is, and he just needs to finish getting all the clues together. The end of this one is also a little bit BS because it involves the lady who had gone missing returns most of the way through it, but then the guy who had been accused of murdering her ends up murdering her anyway, which Columbo solves very quickly, and also doesn't seem super annoyed by. You'd think Columbo would be more upset that an unnecessary death had happened. Still, there is a large amount of camp value to Columbo wandering around a Playboy Mansion and being all like weird and shy about what's going on and stuff. This one's okay. It's just nowhere near the heights of a truly solid Columbo. So I'm going to give this one 2.5 stars.